The wilderness journey versus the exile journey. Two different settings, two different scenarios, two different purposes, and the outcomes are expected to be different. So does the faiths should be different. In the wilderness, you need a faith to get there. In the exile, you need a faith to return. In the wilderness, you need faith to get to Canaan. In the exile, you need faith to return to Israel. In the wilderness, you need faith to enter his promise. In the exile, you need faith to return to his promise. The wilderness are the new converts, the one that God just rescued. However, the exile are the old converts, the one that had turned away from the faith. In the wilderness, we drive you with miracles that you may believe and enter his promise. In the exile, we remind you what he did, that you may believe and return. We live in an age whereby one man can be in Egypt, the same man can be delivered, the same man can walk through the journey of the wilderness, the same man can enter his promises. But because of the pride of the eyes, of the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life, the same man can find themselves be driven to the exile. In the exile, whereby we bring remembrance. In the exile, you need to remember what God has taken you through, what God has taken you from, what God has done for you, so that you may return. I find a generation of believers who are in the exile, who needs to be reminded that God has done this for you, God has done this for you. Have faith in that. But yet they want to be treated as though that they are in the wilderness journey. They still want miracles to be convinced. No, you have passed the age of miracles. You were convinced. Remember, there was a time whereby miracles were done, and you were convinced that the only one true God is Yeshua. But now, because of the issues of life, of the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, the deceitful of riches, you have forgotten. Now you need remembrance. Remembrance, it is not more miracles, but remembrance is to remember the goodness of the Lord. When we talk of land dispossession, particularly in Africa, we speak of exile, that we are exiled in the land of our nativity. That yes, I was born here. Who told me that I'm an exile? Somebody said the land that you are in was once your ancestors' land, but now it is no longer your ancestors' land. The land is still the same, and I live in the land, but I'm an exile in the land. Therefore, I need a remembrance of what the past was, so that I can believe that I can go back. A Christian is born as an exile. Someone to remind you what was done on Calvary. Someone to remind you the authority that Adam was given, and in Genesis, the authority that Adam was given in Eden. That is the exile, to remind you that you have authority, to remind you that you are a priest, to remind you that you are royal, to remind you that your seat is besides the seat of Jehovah, that your seat is in the heavenly places.